Okay. Gonna give this a minute to get going. Oof. I was gonna make a standalone video about this, but there's just too much, and I quite honestly didn't want to do the editing. So I just decided I'm just gonna go live and just talk about this. Um, Thank you so much, September Virgo. That means so much to me. I haven't got a super chat in so long. Yes, is my sound okay? So I'm going to be talking about Don in his interview, uh, where he's supposed to be talking about summer. Hey, Karma, from like 4 days ago on WCYB. I have a whole lot of problems with that interview. But before we get going, I saw that Michelle, I think it's on her Michelle Walks, maybe. Hi, Sarah. One of her channels. She had put up a video a couple of days ago, and the title said something like, and I'm sorry I don't have it, said something like, now that we know that Dawn Wells is innocent, something, something, something. I didn't watch it, but I was like, oh dear. I don't know why people don't listen to me. So just to be clear, Dawn Wells has never been proven innocent. None of those court documents ever say that he's innocent. I know that he tries to make it seem as though that's what that is, but it is not. So if you go to my community tab, it is kind of like the last three, but the third one down, I walked through this whole thing and I detail all of it about how that document does not at all say that he's innocent. Hey, Scott H. Just a minute. So if you are seeing things going around on YouTube, sorry, that's really hard to see. If you're seeing things going around on YouTube proclaiming that Dawn is correct in being innocent, that's not accurate. It's not accurate at all. Let me give you your wrench. There we go. Hey, Elizabeth, how are you doing? So there's that. So if you're interested in reading about it, I tried to do my best to make it like understandable, to like be able to walk through it so it might be easier to understand. I'm getting really good at doing emojis on my computer. So I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but long story short, that document did not say he's innocent. It didn't. That's not at all what it said. You can read my community tab. It lays it all out. So there's that. Everybody good with this? I'm so frustrated. People are believing that. Okay. I can see kind of on face value how that might seem what it is, but it's not. It's not. The thing that I keep going back to is, so Don was trying to appeal something. That's why he's the petitioner. He was trying to appeal. He's the appellant, right? Something. But the something he was trying to appeal no longer exists, which is the abuse. He can't abuse children that he no longer has access to. So Don was trying to appeal something that doesn't exist anymore. And so the court has no choice but to just be like, there's no appeal here. There's nothing to appeal. That's why they dismissed the case. There's nothing to appeal. That's why. It's not that he's innocent. It's just he can't commit the crime when the victims aren't there anymore. Oof. So I don't know why people are believing that. Okay, let's move on. So this video, I cut it. I went through, I recorded the whole thing from start to finish, and I stopped and I put pauses in between each one of those questions that Dawn is asked so that we can pause and talk about it. Other than that, I haven't touched the video, just so you know. So before we get going into this, though, I have some major concerns about this, about the news station. Now, the very first thing that I noticed when I watched this was that they did not show Summer's age progression photo, her Amber Alert poster, contact information with tips, There was no attempt by like an anchor to be like, this is still active, like encouraging viewers to like call in. None of that happened. Hey, Cat's Eye. Hey, Victoria. None of that. And you would assume as a news outlet that would, because usually every time I've ever watched a video on WJHL, isn't that the right one? Not WJHL. They always have somebody talk about that. They're like either at the beginning or the end, they'll be like, if you have any information, here's the contact stuff. They don't do that. This channel doesn't do that. This news channel. So you see, I left a comment because I was pissed. It's a shame that WCYB didn't bother to show Summer's Amber Alert info, age progression photo, who to contact with tips, etc. I expect that omission from Dawn, but not from a news agency. Not even in the description. Really? That's journalistically irresponsible. Facts. It is. Factual. I believe that the only thing that this news outlet intended was to get views. I don't think they really have any concern about what's actually being talked about. I think they just wanted some clicks and views, some attention. That's just my opinion. So now that that's out of the way, we're going to walk through this. So there's 5 questions, I think, that he talks about. Well, okay. I'm going to minimize myself here. That's better. So I couldn't believe that I was watching a news piece from a legitimate news channel and they didn't do that basic step, but whatever. So this is how this is going to play out. For whatever reason, they don't play the interviewer asking the question out loud. They just have a screenshot with Summer's original photo and then the text over top of what the question is. So I have a big problem with that. They also do a whole lot of cutting and editing of Dawn's responses. So we don't have access to the entire thing, which makes it impossible for me to do any kind of behavior analysis on this because I can't see what's going on before and after. The whole thing is shady. So here we go. So it's kind of, there's, I don't know, probably like 5, 6, 7 seconds of it just being like, seems like it's not going anywhere. And then Dawn will answer the question. And then I typed his answers out, and put them on their own slide. That's where we'll pause it and talk about it. You're going to have to excuse me because I have notes that are like not very organized. They're not well organized at all. So I'm going to mute out and I'm just going to get out of the way. All right, here we go. Oh, before this starts, sorry. It's really important, if you haven't seen this, it's really important that you remember what the question is. Trust me, you need to remember what the question is. Here we go.
It's been really tough. The social media groups would attack anybody that we knew, any employer that we worked for. And so it made it really hard for us to obtain employment and all these things. But there's been people that's helped us, along the way, and we really appreciate that, for sure. But we're just hoping, God will turn it all around.
Let me back that up. Does that sound too quiet? Let me try turning it up just a little. Okay, we'll try this again. So the question, apparently, I don't know why we can't hear the question. I don't know why we're not privy to listening to the interviewer. The question is, it has been 4 years now since Summer disappeared. What do you think when that comes to mind? Like, what do you think about the past 4 years? The fact that she's still missing. What do you think about that? That's supposed to be the question.
It's been really tough. The social media groups would attack anybody that we knew, any employer that we worked for. And so it made it really hard for us to obtain employment and all these things. But there's been people that's helped us, along the way, and we really appreciate that, for sure. But we're just hoping, God will turn it all around.
So, as per usual, the people who are here that know about the statement analysis stuff, as per usual, I didn't do any punctuation. I wasn't going to try to guess where commas and periods go. I just typed all the words out into one big thing. So the question was, let me get there. It has been 4 years now. What do you think when that comes to mind? Now, the first thing I want to hear now, okay, I'm not even in a perfect world, just in a normal world. In a normal world, a parent would say their child's name. You would think. It is what it is. The other thing is that if it was me, and I'm glad it's not, but if it was me, I would be holding a picture of Summer, like you see all the time on the news, holding a photo so that people can see what she looks like and realize that we're not just talking about some abstract person. Like, this is a real little child and she's for real missing, and this is for really what she looks like. And there was this ample opportunity to describe her, give her like a soul, like just explain who she is as a human being. That the door was wide open for this. I'm so frustrated. So obviously the first thing, he's not holding a picture. I'm not surprised. I was like, oh, shocker. Now the thing about this is, the question was, it has been 4 years now. What do you think when that comes to mind? He doesn't actually answer the question. He doesn't answer the question. The interviewer wants to know what it's like to have a child missing for 4 years. The answer presumably should be about Summer, not about Dawn and Candace. But yet he makes it all about Dawn, like usual. He doesn't mention Summer at all, doesn't use her name because he doesn't say anything about her. He doesn't mention that she's missing. Nothing about wondering what happened. Nothing about what happened. Nothing about how her absence like affects him on a daily basis. I used to go fishing with her on Saturday, and now I'm not able to do that anymore. And I miss making breakfast on Sundays, or something like this. Something to humanize her. But none of that happens. None of that happens. The other thing, I know that Dawn's not a crier. Okay, and I'm not saying that everybody cries in this situation, but certainly some emotion should be happening. Frustration, grief, longing, sorrow, just a general sadness in appearance. You don't have to be sobbing your eyes out, but you're talking about your child who you haven't seen for 4 years, basically half her life now, and there's nothing at all about her. Nothing. The whole answer is about him and Candace. I'm assuming she must be off camera, because he keeps saying the word we. I'm going to assume that she's just not in camera's view. But the noteworthy things is, he immediately, from the very first word that comes out of his mouth, he shifts the conversation away from Summer and discusses how he has suffered. All about how he is the victim. I'm the victim. Remember that? I'm the victim in this case. I don't think I have that clip, but that's what I hear in my mind. When I'm listening to this, all I hear is that quote from Dawn. I'm the victim in this case. Hey, Jack. Hey, Clip Wings. But you know what I mean? I'm the victim in this case. He talks about being attacked and not being able to work. And it's kind of the first time that I've really, personally myself, have heard him basically directly blame Summer for all of his problems. Like, if Summer didn't go missing, way to go, Summer, that you went missing, because you went missing, now this is all this stuff that's happening to me. Had you not gone missing, I wouldn't have this problem. And that is the general feeling I got through this whole thing, was he was blaming Summer for going missing. I know he's sort of passively kind of hinted in that direction, but at times, but this is like full-blown blaming her. And of course, he name drops God because, what statement wouldn't be Dawn's statement without name dropping God in there? But again, it's all about social media, and I can't get a job, and people are attacking me. And where's this discussion about Summer? Where is she in that? I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand. And then the ending statement that they're hoping that God will turn it all around. Turn what around? What is God supposed to be turning around? I'm assuming nothing about Summer because he didn't say anything about Summer. All he did was talk about himself. So is he trying to say that God needs to help him out and do him a solid by getting him a job and making people stop talking about him? I found the most wonderful quote the other day. Let me find it here. A parent in this situation should be less concerned about judgment and more concerned about finding their child. I was like, I'm going to read that one more time. A parent with a missing child should be less concerned about judgment and more concerned about finding the child. I was like, yeah, that's pretty spot on. But what, turn it all around? Turn it all, what? What's God going to turn around? The 4 years that's gone by? Obviously, that's not going to happen. It's basically half her life now. All right, we'll keep going. As I mentioned, there's like this really long pause where the question comes up. So the question, you got to remember now, do you still hold on to hope that Summer will be found one day?
We hope and pray all the time for that, and we hope so. She could be anywhere. We don't know. Only, we just got to hang on to that hope and just do our best to, do what's right.
Oh, this was a gem. Even though it's like the shortest answer, this was the best one so far. So the question was, do you still hold on to hope that Summer will be found one day? So here we've got yet another open door opportunity to talk about Summer. The question is speaking directly about Summer. Do you hold on to hope that she's going to be found? So he comes back with, we hope and pray all the time for that. For that. So presumably that would be for her to come home. But why can't he say that? Why can't he say we hope and pray all the time for her to come home? For Summer to come home? For that. Again, no mention of Summer's name. Shocker. He finally is talking about her, kind of. But he doesn't say anything about missing her. He doesn't share memories like I had mentioned, going fishing or making breakfast or, having the candy after work or whatever. None of that. Just this vague, she could be anywhere. Well, yeah, we know that. This is all stuff we know, but they want to know, the interviewer wants to know, are you holding out hope? Why would you hold out hope? What are you hoping for? Nothing. I assume that Dawn was given these questions before the interview so he could prep the answers. It's amazing how Dawn speaks so differently when there's posts on Facebook than he speaks in person. It's markedly different. Almost like it's a different person talking than it is posting on Facebook. Not sorry. Okay, so then the statement there that you're just trying to and just do our best to do what's right. Do what's right. What is it that you're trying to do right as opposed to wrong? Do what's right about what? The question was, do you still hold on to hope that Summer will be found one day? So does that mean there's a right and wrong way to hope that she'll be found? This is like a statement analysis gold mine. Summer's the gold. Oh my God, somebody commented on that video the other day. the one I made about Summer's the Gold, and I about died because I completely forgot about it. So I got to listen to that again. Oh, that's a good one. So anyway, let's get back to this. So I did some digging in my old notes from when I was taking statement analysis classes and stuff. And because this triggered a memory for me to do our best. I'm trying to. When somebody says that type of thing, when someone says, we're trying our best to, or whatever, it usually implies that they're not actually doing that thing. They're trying to make it seem like they are, but if you're doing your best to know, if you're doing your best to do what's right, it doesn't mean you're actually doing what's right. You're trying, apparently, or at least you say you're trying, but you're not succeeding. If you were succeeding, you would say, we do our best to do what's right. No. Hey, Con Candy 65, you would say, and just continue to do what's right. What would be the wrong way to hope? How do you wrongly hope? I'm so frustrated. So this is supposed to be about Summer again, but yet Don makes it about himself again. Now this whole situation about we're going to do our best, that whole idea of being unsuccessful at trying comes up again later on. So keep that in mind. Okay, we'll keep moving on. Here we go. As this whole thing, this whole 4 minutes was so interesting. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, this one. Have you guys seen this? Just asking. This question: do you stay in the area in hopes that she will come back? And I was like, mm-hmm. So I actually went and I looked up some stuff about parents with missing children. And historically speaking, if there was any cases that I could make a note of where this has come up, and a lot of high profile cases, parents absolutely refuse to move just in case they're worried that their child will show up back at home and they've moved, and they want to maintain their home where it is because they hope that their child will come back to their home. And I forget her, Madeline McCain's mother, what's her name? She is adamant about remaining in the family home, and she has not touched Madeline's room. She actually goes in there twice a day. She told Oprah, I think it was on Oprah. She goes in Madeline's room twice a day just to make sure everything is in its place for when she comes back. What's her name? Sean Hornbeck's mother did the same thing. Steven Stainer, his mom left his room exactly how it was when he went missing. If you guys have ever seen that movie, right? There was a lot of these names that were I was like, oh yeah, that's right. And it went on, I can't remember the name of the one parent, but for some reason, this parent had to move from the family home for some reason. And it was the worst day of their life. And that all they could think about was, oh my gosh, what if my child comes home and I'm not there? And it's a whole new family that this child doesn't know. This is so, I was furious. So once again, the question is, do you stay in the area in hopes that she will come back? Ready? Here we go. Oh, furious. I'm furious.
Many times I've wanted to go back out west and everything else, but this whole thing has tied us down to right here. We can't do anything, not really. I mean, yeah, this whole thing's tied us down to this area for 4 years now.
Ugh. The first time I watched this, I was stunned. I was floored by that answer. So here we go again, in my opinion, blaming Summer. It's all her fault she went missing because she went missing, now it's her fault that we're stuck here. we're stuck here. We can't go anywhere because we're stuck because Summer had to go missing. How dare she? I mean, does anybody else get that vibe, or is it just me? Like, I get through the whole thing. That's how it makes me feel. Like he's blaming her. Like she's inconvenienced him. Like, how dare she go missing? Because now he's inconvenienced in all these myriad of ways. So, again, doesn't use Summer's name. Not surprised. But he immediately opens up with his desire and longing to escape, to not have to stay there. So Summer's disappearance has inconvenienced him because he can't get a job, because people harass him online, because law enforcement searched his house 11 times, because he can't move back to Utah. All of these things are all her fault. All her fault, apparently. But one thing of interest about this is he doesn't mention anything about Summer coming back home and needing to be there, or even just mentioning the thought that she would return. Like, it's almost as if he has no desire to be there if she came home. Like, does he know that that's just never going to happen? Is that he's so nonchalant about this? Like, if this was me, and I'm glad it's not, but if it were, that thought, I mean, it would be, you would have to pry me from my house and kidnap me away to make me leave my home. I would never, ever do that, no matter how much it inconvenienced me, because it wouldn't really inconvenience me. I wouldn't want to leave. That's my child's home, and that's where my child's bedroom is, and everything would smell like my child. And why would I want to leave that behind? Furious. I want to go back out west, but this whole thing, the whole thing has tied us down. The whole thing. What, hey, Candalee, what is the whole thing? Again, he's referencing this as a thing. Like, oh, this is this little blip in his life that's just screwed everything up for him. We can't do anything. Oh, I don't know. It tied us down in this area. I mean, I know the obvious answers. Karma says, let's be real, I don't think they ever cared about any of their children. I agree. I agree 100%. I agree. I think that it's my opinion that they use their children for attention in a way. Like, hey, look at us. We have a missing child. Look over here. We're famous. They're delusional if they think they're going to get their boy back. That's all in my community tab. Don't think they're innocent. That's not what it said. Okay, let's move on. God, this makes me so upset. So mad. All right. The question is, have you heard anything new from police recently? If you haven't seen this before, you're just gonna this is just about gonna do you in.
No, I don't think we. That's really kind of a tough question. For one thing, law enforcement and to me, it seems like law enforcement and me and her as parents or whatever do not get along. They see things quite differently, kind of insulting and insinuating. And to me, it seems like they kind of, look down on you a lot. I mean, it hasn't been very good. I mean, they tore our house apart 11 times. Why? I mean, why? That just don't even make sense. They searched and tore our house apart 11 times. I've never even heard of that before. I mean, to me, I don't know. It really hurt. The whole thing has really hurt me and Candace a lot, but we're still hanging in there for our kids and trying to do what's right. And holding out hope that Summer will be found.
Okay. That's a lot, right? So this is the first and only time that he says Summer's name. First and only time. But again, he doesn't really answer the question. The question was, have you heard anything new from police recently? And basically, it's like yes or no, and then maybe a brief elaboration on your answer. No, but blah, blah, blah. No, but I go to the police station every day, or I call the detective every day, or I call every other day, or, I check in with the detective twice a month, or something, anything. I mean, even if he said, no, it's frustrating, we just want answers, at least he's answered the question. So, again, he begins the statement with, well, no. It's a tough question. It's not a tough question. It's pretty basic. But then he immediately pivots himself to talk about how he's the victim. Again, I'm the victim in this case. I mean, have you heard a recent update? Yes or no? And then just briefly explain what you mean. That's all you had to do. It's not like it's complicated. He does a whole lot of blaming law enforcement. Shocker. I have to say, there's all the corruption and everything, and it is what it is. But do you know how much money that state of Tennessee has paid to search for Summer, and how many resources they've used, and how many people were out there for whatever 10 or 12 hours a day for however many weeks looking for their child? I mean, if I was one of the searchers, this would be like a slap in the face to me. I would be like, are you kidding me right now? Hey, that's just me. But so he mentions repeatedly this house was searched 11 times. And what? So what? Don't you want to get your name cleared? I mean, if it takes them 11 times or 20 times or 50 times to search your house and it clears your name, then what's the big freaking deal? I'm sorry that it's inconveniencing you. Again, so sorry that it's such an inconvenience in your life. Just doesn't, it's so, I would let law enforcement tear my house down to the studs if they had to. I mean, anything I could do to be helpful, I would do it, and I would not complain. Not one bit. But then, hey, animal lovers. So then we move on and we say, they really hurt. The whole thing has really hurt me and Candace a lot. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that it's painful, but you're not the victims. You guys are not the victims in this case. Summer is the victim here. And once again, I get the vibe that we're blaming her. It's like Summer's fault that she went missing. And because of that, now I have all these problems because of that. Had she not gone missing, then I wouldn't be here. Like in a mean way, like in a spiteful way. And it's, of course, law enforcement is going to look at you, kind of side eye you, especially Candace, because she was the parent that was supposed to be caring at that moment for Summer. She was the parent because Dawn was allegedly not there. So, of course, they're going to side eye Candace up and down and left and right. She was the last one there. I mean, you would expect that. You should expect that. And, of course, they're going to grill you. And Candy65 says, Candace won't even go on the news and plead for Summer. I know. I've said that for so long about how much I despise that and I hate that. But you have to know, you've got to know, common sense tells you that you're going to get grilled. They're going to grill you and grill you and grill you, and because they were going to try to break you. And if you don't know anything, if you're innocent, then there's nothing you would possibly say. I mean, I don't know were they expecting, like, I don't know, to get put in like a hotel suite and have like a 5-star 1,000 course meal and carry a, given like, I don't know, the finest china. I mean, what is it that they think that they should get? Like what do they feel like they should deserve here? I have certain opinions about that whole thing. But it's interesting because this is like the first time really that Don shows emotion. I've been waiting for some emotion, right? It's unfortunate though, because his emotion is frustration about how he's the victim. He shows no emotion when he talks about Summer, but a whole lot of emotion when he talks about how he's been so wronged. All this wrong is happening to him. Then he gets frustrated. Then he gets emotional. He needs to have the same passion about Summer that he does have about his belief that he's a victim. That's just mine. So my question would be, do they call? Do they call and check in? Have you asked for updates? Have you gone to the sheriff's office to speak to the detective? What have you done? What have you done? If law enforcement isn't reaching out to you, what have you done to reach out to them? I don't understand. If my child was missing, and I'm glad she's not, but if she were, and the detective or whoever wasn't calling me, I would be on the phone every single day until I got an update. Even no update is better than not being in communication at all. Just try a little bit. So here we go again. From the question we talked about briefly earlier. He says, but we're still hanging in there, trying to do what's right for our kids. Trying to do. They're trying. They're trying to do what's right. Well, trying implies that you're not succeeding at what you're doing. And he says what it is that they're doing is trying to do what's right. So essentially, from a statement analysis perspective, what that actually means is that they're trying and failing to do what's right. Just saying. Just saying. I'd like to know what it is that they're failing at. As if I don't know. And then it's almost like he gets done with this little rant, right? Because this is a huge, long little rant. He's all frustrated and irritated. He's ranting about how horrible law enforcement is. And he kind of gets to the end of his statement. And like, I almost feel like he's like, oh shit. In his mind, he's like, oh shit, I didn't say anything about Summer. So he slams in this real brief comment. We're holding out hope that Summer will be found. You got to throw her in at the end, just real quick. It's like he's trying to like backpedal to make it sound as though he wasn't so selfish in his answer. So that was the extent of his answer for the question. I didn't remember the question anymore. Have you heard anything new from police recently? And the only thing that he could talk about with regards to Summer was that he is holding up hope that Summer will be found. Doesn't that answer kind of belongs with the other question about hoping, but it is what it is. All right, let's move on. Oh yeah. Okay. Got to find where I'm at in my notes. All right, there we are. This took forever to type. I was running out of room. So the next question is, does it give you hope that the investigation is not cold? Can somebody tell me if TBI Leslie or somebody came out recently and said that it wasn't cold? Because I don't know, but I've been paying attention to Crystal Rogers. But if that happened, then this question makes more sense. But if law enforcement hasn't come out recently and said this is not a cold, okay, she did. Okay. Because I was like, where'd they come up with this? All right. So the question is, does it give you hope that the investigation is not cold? Pretty straightforward.
Well, I mean, they can only do so much. I mean, I think there was a lot more going on during the Biden administration that they're just starting to scratch the surface of. And hopefully they'll continue with a lot of this investigative work. And we've heard stories, that of things going on and higher ups and stuff, but, lawsuits and other things, but I don't know.
I'm sorry to laugh. The question was, does it give you hope that the investigation is not cold? And this answer was just like blah 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 blah. It like turned into like Charlie Brown's teacher for me. I was like, what is he talking about? Like, what? I was so confused. Like, none of this was landing for me. I couldn't even twist it a little bit to try to get to that. This was like a door wide open for Dawn to talk about Summer, about how she might still be found, and to, hey, radio gods, at least show some kind of emotional connection, something, anything. But we take this weird turn and talk about Biden. And I mean, a whole lot of conspiracy theory vibes in here. I mean, it's weird to me. The whole thing was weird. Does it give you hope that the investigation is not cold? Why wouldn't you say something like, absolutely, it means they haven't given up. It gives me hope to know that they're still actively looking for my child. I'm so glad that they haven't, pushed her to the side. Hey, Carla, something, even if you have some tension with law enforcement, you could still say something like anything. I'm glad they haven't given up. I'm glad to know that they're still looking for her. And oh, thanks, Scott. Let me pin or star that. So can I pin that? Oh, well, let me do it on here. Pin. Okay. But it's just weird. So okay. So if I'm going to work with what he's saying, this Biden thing, I want to know how that. What does that have to do with anything? Explain that. Explain this to me. What stories have you heard? What things are going on with the higher ups? What specifically are you referring to? Give me some names. Give me some case examples. Show me, tell me a link to something, a news article, something. Otherwise, this just sounds like a whole lot of crazy talk. Not sorry. But the thing, without evidence, it's all a bunch of nonsense to me. That's what it is. But this beginning part, they can only do so much. Law enforcement can only do so much, as in what? It sounds to me, okay, it's very obvious to me that he is very much not grateful for anything law enforcement has done. So disrespectful. So disrespectful. Even if I hate somebody like to my core, like in my soul, if that person did something good, I'm going to acknowledge that they did something good for me. You have to be able to separate your personal feelings from the larger issue at hand. But this whole, they can only do so much. What else could they possibly do that they haven't done? Hey, Tortitude. I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Oh boy. Ready for the next one? This next one is really, really interesting to me. So the question is, do you still believe she was taken by somebody? None of this is about Summer. None of it. He name drops her like he name drops God. So the question, do you still believe she was taken by somebody? Oh, and I do want to mention that this answer, the video, they cut it. I don't know why they did that, but they made it, they cut something out. Something has been removed from the answer, which is frustrating to me, but we'll work with what we have. You'll see the video clip.
Well, we know she was, you know what I mean? She was there one minute and the next she wasn't, you know. Down the dog trail, I think so, because that search dog, you know, and I've said it before, you know, that search dog, when it first smelled her clothing or whatever it was, that dog went straight down that dog trail and then lost its scent by the roadside. And I don't know, one policeman said that, I don't know, there's a couple different things. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay, this is a gem. Sarah says, "Can you request the full interview?" I doubt it. This whole thing is shady. This whole thing is shady. The way that they've created this video is shady. I don't really trust them. So the first section, the question is, do you still believe she was taken by somebody? And we all remember how like adamant he was. She was taken. I know it 100%, that she was kidnapped. She was abducted, right off from the doctor. I know it. Like, he has been pushing that from the beginning. I mean, full conviction in that theory. There's no other way to put it. But he starts at, well, we know she was. We know she was. She was there 1 minute and the next she wasn't, Okay, so okay. You're still kind of sold to your original theory. And then there's that split in the video, which I don't know why. I'd really like to know what he said in between. So then he brings up the dog trail. I'm assuming he was trying to give an example or some examples about why he thinks that. But I want to know what was cut out. That's probably really important. So he gives this one example about the dog trail to try to justify his theory, which he's always done. But yet he says, I think so. I think. He thinks so. So he says, down the dog trail, I think so. I think so. So if you are like 100% certain that she was taken, or if you think she was taken, that's not the same thing. You can't think she might have been and be 100% certain about it. So this is the first time that I've seen Don sort of passively back off a couple of steps from the abduction thing. He doesn't seem very confident in that anymore, the way that he's talking about it. And then it evolves like into just complete uncertainty. He says, I don't know. He says, quote, I don't know. One policeman said that I don't know. There's a couple different things I don't know. So within that, just that little one statement, he says, I don't know 3 times in a row. And then he ends it with, it's hard to say. So you could probably safely assume that he either is backing off on his theory for whatever reason, which is interesting, or he never believed it in the first place. He never truly believed about the abduction. He was just kind of coming up with something. Or he could be tired of a lie that he's been trying to maintain. So let's say that he's really pushed this abduction theory for a long time, which he has, but he's just tired of pushing that narrative. So he's like, you know what? Probably not. I'm probably wrong. But something has caused him to back off for whatever reason, I don't know, which I thought was interesting. But the one thing that comes up for me is that throughout this whole thing, there's been no vivid recollection of any type of memories related to Summer. Nothing. And I was late today, a little bit late, because I was looking for, Peter Hyatt had made a blog post about, not about this, but about someone else. And he was talking about what it was like for a parent to have a child go missing, and how the day that it happens becomes like it's so emotionally and mentally traumatic that it's like a play-by-play in their mind, in a parent's mind. They remember everything, maybe the smell, the temperature of the air, the sounds they're hearing. It's like a vivid memory, like a play-by-play. But yet when Dawn or Candace talk, it's like, I don't remember what time. It might have been this long. It might have been that long. Maybe it was 20 minutes, maybe not. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Why don't you remember? That should be the worst day of your life. It should be. But yet, for some reason, the memories are absent. And now all of a sudden, Don just doesn't know anymore. He just doesn't know. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to start rumors. But there's a part of me that, when I listen to this, makes me feel like Don knows more than he's saying, and that it's upsetting and concerning to me that he doesn't show any urgency in any of this, that he's emotionally triggered by his victimization. But he has no emotion when he talks about, when he doesn't talk about Summer. There's no emotion whatsoever. It's all about how it's affected him, how it's all her fault, all Summer's fault, that he's had to go through this, as if it was her choice to go missing. But it's very weird to me because he doesn't even offer any kind of speculation about what he thinks might have happened. Nothing at all. And it makes me concerned about what it is that he might know that might lead him to not be as concerned as a reasonable person would, if you kind of get where I'm going with that thought. I don't want to pursue that thought much further. Isn't that interesting? So that's the totality of the whole thing. I'm going to scooch forward so we can put this up. Since the news didn't bother, and since Dawn didn't bother, I'll put her info up. Does anybody have anything they want to talk about with this, with regards to this mess? The link is in the description if you want to go and watch it. It was just really hard for me without typing the text out. If you're coming in late to the game and you still think that Dawn and Candace have been proven quote unquote innocent for the situation with the boys, that's wrong. That's not a fact. They're twisting it up and they're making it into something that's not true. It's on my community post. If you want to go read it, I dissect the whole court document. I dissected the whole thing. If you are having a hard time understanding, I know that court document is a little tricky because there's a whole lot of big court legal words in there, but it doesn't say they're innocent. It doesn't say they're not guilty. It doesn't say it's unfounded. Nothing. It doesn't say that at all. The only thing that Dawn succeeded in was to get the label of abuser removed. And that was removed because he can't abuse children he no longer has access to. That's kind of the cut and dry of it. There was never any kind of proceeding in which the evidence was reviewed and they were deemed unfounded, for example. You can't abuse someone who's no longer in your custody. So if you want to read that, it's my community tab. It's like the third post down. I'm very furious about that. They're still peddling that narrative, which I don't understand. Okay, I'm going to get out of here. I'm not going to run the loop because, like, the kids in the loop are Crystal, and everybody knows what's going on with Crystal, I hope. That's going to be an interesting trial. Interesting. I'm so upset about this. I'm so upset. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go drop away, and I'm just going to leave this screen up for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to end my stream. I'm glad you guys were here. If you're on the replay and you want to contribute, you can comment down below. I always like to see a really good discussion. If you are upset with the news people, you should go to that video linked in the description. You should go there and leave a comment on their video about how journalistically inappropriate and reckless they are for not giving this one little screen we're all looking at. It wouldn't have killed them to slip that in. So upset. I gave it a thumbs down. All right. I love you guys. I really do. And I'll try to be here. I know I need to go live more. It's really hard because no one's really interested in Crystal Rogers. I don't know why. It's very fascinating. Some big stuff is going to happen. But I'll try to come live more. We'll have to see. All right. I'm going. I love you guys. And I'll talk to you all soon.